So, I come from a long line of losers, literally. On my dad's side of the family, your last name was either Hayes or Loser. And the loser last name came from my great-great-great-great-granddaddy Conrad, who lost everything, all his money, the shirt off his back, no one knows how. And when that happened, he changed his last name to Loser so he would never forget. So clearly, my great-great-great-great-granddaddy Conrad never read The Secret and didn't understand the law of attraction. He even spelled it L-O-O-S-E-R, but he meant loser. Bless his heart. Oh, you know that's what Southerners say when they say something mean to you, right, Ruby? You always say, bless your heart. Bless your heart. So if a Southerner says, bless your heart to you, that means they probably just insulted the shit out of you. Like, you are the dumbest 5-year-old I've ever met, bless your heart. Oh, okay, so the loser line of the family comes with really unfortunate looks, of course. At family reunions, my cousins would quietly whisper about one aunt or another, oh, well, she's got those loser looks. Who's gonna marry her? So that's a little taste of my family. Now, the day I left for LA, with only the contents of my jam-packed Honda Fit, I had one intention, and that was to get the hell out of the South and as far away from my family as possible. But here's the thing. Am I really that far away from my family? I mean, I wonder, am I forever doomed because I have loser blood coursing through my veins? Do I? Am I? I don't know. But here's what I do know. You guys are going to help me decide this. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to play a drinking game.
Oh, yes.
Every time I tell you something about, does everybody have appropriate booze and or water? Who needs some booze and or water? Lady over here, gentlemen. Yeah, your girlfriend needs drinks, gentlemen. So what we're going to do is every time I tell you something about my family or myself that is in the loser vein, we're going to drink. I'm going to play too. I don't normally drink during my storytelling, but this is, you know, it's exceptional times, guys. It's exceptional times. Everybody ready?
Not yet.
Okay, we're getting, okay, sorry, box wine. I'm sorry. My bad. I'm ready for it.
Soft shoe.
Yeah. This is my first time wearing these pajamas out.
There's a cave in the back.
Anybody else while I'm up need a little wine?
I'm so excited. Everybody's like gung ho. Are you guys ready?
Woo! Go Megan.
All right. Did you get your girl her drink? Okay. Yes. Excellent. All right. So now, my father is from Alabama. Yes, it is. I just drilled upon myself. His granddaddy, my granddaddy and Granny Hayes, were Depression-era tenant farmers. Bad ones. My dad lived in 10 places by the age of 7, some of them without plumbing and or electricity. I don't remember much about Granddaddy or Granny Hayes. They both died when I was young. All I remember about Granddaddy Hayes was that he smelled funny, and he had only one leg, and that he had a prosthetic leg, but he never wore it. It always sat propped up in the corner of the room. When I was 4 years old, it was the same height as me, so it kind of terrified me in like a Sam Shepard kind of way. Later, I realized that his smelling funny was the booze. Now, Granny Hayes was mean as hell and ugly as sin. She was hunched over in her walker, and she dominated the kitchen at their home in Lafayette, Alabama. It's Lafayette. It's not Lafayette. There's nothing French or whimsical about this pronunciation. This home would later become my father's home because even after living in Scotland, Princeton, New Jersey, San Antonio, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, and traveling extensively through the world, after my parents divorced when I was 19, he moved. Oh wait, my parents, that was their third divorce. My parents were divorced and remarried to each other 3 times. Yes, I was the bridesmaid at wedding number 3. dad lived and traveled extensively throughout the world. He moved back to the house that his parents owned, just miles down the road from where he was born. So, in fact, I am the only Hayes or loser that does not live within a 2-hour radius of Eastern Alabama. Okay, so that's not a drinking one. Okay, got it. Well, actually, there is one more. A very, very, very distant cousin. No one talks about her. I've never met her. I don't even know if she exists. And here's the thing. I only got away from my family 4 years ago at the age of 40. I think that's the Trojan trick right there. To 40! Also, no one, don't look it, right?
You look great.
You
Hey,
look
girl, I thought you were in your 20s.
Oh, girl, Kara. Okay, so we're gonna hug later. So here's the thing: back in Atlanta, none of my family ever speaks of my moving away, except every now and then they're like, "Megan, when are you gonna come on back home?" Or my actor friends back in Atlanta will grab my hand with pity and say, you know, you can always come back home. She's out in LA trying to make it. Bless her heart. Is anyone getting tipsy yet? I am. Okay, so now back to my dad. The story goes, my dad was the second youngest of 8. I always thought it was 10. No one really knows. There was only one girl in the family, Frances. As a sophomore in high school, Frances married her principal.
Oh.
When she was 15 and he was 30.
Oh.
See, you guys, the stereotypes do exist. And her husband, Ralph, even insisted that she finished high school, which was kind of cool and empowering at the time, but also kind of weird, because, I mean, like, if she gets in trouble, does she get sent to her husband's office? They had a son, my cousin, Billy Paul. That's one right there. I didn't even think about that, Billy Paul. The last time I saw Billy Paul was at my dad's funeral. My friend Pam was there. He at the funeral couldn't get the name of the movie that I was in right to save his life. And from across the room, he'd be like, "Megan, what's the name of that movie you're in again? Caught on Fire." I'm like, it's The Hunger Games, Catching Fire. Oh yeah, that's right. And 5 minutes later, "Megan, what's that one called? Fire is Catching?" And I'm like, Billy Paul, it's called The Hunger Games, Catching Fire. It's a really famous book. Anyway. Every 5 minutes at my dad's funeral. Okay, anyway, back to me, because this is about me figuring out if I'm free. I'm 44. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay my bills this month. Yay! I met with a talent manager earlier this afternoon who asked me, like, "So what's your game plan? What do you see?" And I'm like, I just want to play as many crack whores as possible. I like drug addicts too. So that was my game plan. Oh. I have an older brother and an older sister. My brother and I, neither one of us has been married. My sister is now in the middle of her second divorce. And none of us have kids. I mean, we never like discussed it, right? Like it wasn't like this thing like we're not having kids or anything, but I think subconsciously we're all like, it stops here. We're done. The loser line ends. So does it matter if I'm living at 976 Swarthmore Drive, Atlanta, Georgia 30327, or Studio City in Los Angeles? Am I doomed? Or drunk? Or now doomed and drunk? I don't know, but I've been seriously thinking about this because I've been in this like, I mean, I feel like 2017 in general has been kind of like a trying time for most people, and I too have been like questioning a lot of things. Like, is this how my life is going? Is this who I want to be? And is this who I am? Am I a loser? And the answer is, guys, I am. I'm a loser. That's my family. And I'm thankful for it. Thank you. Yeah. What I do.